welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring the future of vocational education and training.
Or VET for short.
VET for short.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You've given us a really interesting mix of reports, articles, even some of your own personal notes on this topic. And it seems like you're particularly interested in how VET is evolving to prepare people for the future of work.
It is a crucial question.
Yeah.
It really is.
The
The sources you've shared highlight this fascinating tension,
Okay.
where on the one hand, you've got this rapid technological change, advancements, globalization,
Yeah.
but then on the other, this growing need for skills that are uniquely human.
Right. Those things that automation can't quite replicate yet.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's dive right into that. One of the OECD reports had this really striking visual
Yeah.
where they categorized occupations by bottleneck skills,
Oh, yeah.
which are those in high demand,
Mhm.
and then ones that have a high automation risk.
Right.
It really got me thinking, are we preparing people for the right jobs?
I think that's a really key insight.
Yeah.
And it's not just about specific jobs disappearing.
Right.
The whole nature of work is transforming.
Yeah.
So, there's reports that show a surge in demand for IT skills, data skills engineering, even things like sales and marketing. But at the same time, there's an equally strong emphasis on those softer skills.
Right. And the sources really hammer that home.
They do.
It's one thing to say soft skills are important, but how are they actually being integrated into these VET programs? What stood out to you?
Well, one example that I thought was really interesting
Yeah.
was this program where VET students were studying advanced manufacturing,
Okay.
and they were collaborating with design students to solve real-world industry problems.
Wow.
So they had to combine that technical know-how with creative problem-solving, communication, teamwork, all of those really essential human skills.
That's a fantastic example.
Yeah.
It shows how VET can go beyond, just the how-to
Yeah.
and actually equip people for this kind of collaborative, problem-solving nature of future workplaces. So how does this all fit into the broader role that VET plays in this shifting landscape?
Well, the sources really paint this picture of VET as being absolutely vital
Okay.
for equipping individuals with the new skills that they need, both the hard skills and the soft skills. And the OECD even suggests that it can be a really powerful tool for reskilling and upskilling adults
Oh, interesting.
who are already in the workforce.
So not just young people who are entering for the first time.
Exactly.
Okay, so almost like a lifelong learning pathway.
Yeah.
But you've also flagged that a lot of OECD countries primarily focus VET at that upper secondary level, with much more limited provision for adults.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of a disconnect?
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's a huge opportunity to expand the reach and impact of VET, to
Yes.
support people throughout their entire careers, not just at the beginning.
Makes sense, especially with the pace of technological change.
Yeah.
Who knows what skills we'll need in 5, 10, 20 years.
Exactly.
You also marked a lot of sections about the need for these responsive VET systems. Yes.
Arguing for a much tighter connection between what's being taught and the actual needs of businesses and industries.
Right.
How do the sources propose we achieve that?
Well, they point to two key strategies.
Okay.
First, using labor market data
Mm-hmm.
to inform the VET programs.
So essentially letting real-world demand drive what's being taught.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And second, involving social partners,
Okay.
like employers and trade unions,
Mm-hmm.
in curriculum design and development.
So making sure it's relevant and up to date.
Exactly.
Didn't the report on VET in Scotland have a really compelling example of this?
It did.
Yeah.
They have a system where they have these technical expert groups,
Okay.
which are made up of employers, unions, and educators.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually shape the apprenticeship qualifications.
Wow.
So it's a real-world collaborative approach to
Mhm.
making sure those apprenticeships align with industry needs.
That's a brilliant model.
It is.
Instead of working in silos, everyone's at the table making sure that VET is truly responsive.
But it's not just about jobs and the economy. You also highlighted the importance of inclusivity and supporting transitions within VET.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Of course. So there's this growing recognition that VET should be a pathway to opportunity for everyone.
Right.
Regardless of background.
Yeah.
So, you highlighted a bunch of sections about bridging programs to help VET graduates access higher education if they want to,
Yes.
moving away from that rigid two-track system.
It stuck out to me, too. It's like recognizing that people's paths aren't always linear. Someone might choose VET now, but later on they want to pursue a university degree.
Right.
That flexibility is crucial.
It is, and it goes beyond just upward mobility.
Okay.
So the sources really advocate for supporting disadvantaged learners, migrants, refugees, anyone who faces barriers to accessing and succeeding in VET.
Yeah.
One powerful example was this Swiss pre-apprenticeship program,
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
designed specifically for migrants. And it integrated language training alongside the practical skills development.
That's fantastic. It shows a real commitment to making sure everyone has that chance to benefit from VET.
Absolutely.
Did they mention any outcomes from that program?
Yeah.
They did.
What were they? It had an 80% success rate in placing graduates into apprenticeships.
Wow.
Yeah, they attributed that to the integrated language training and the close collaboration with local employers.
So it shows the power of a targeted and supportive approach.
It does.
That's remarkable. Speaking of targeted support, another theme that emerged was the role of technology in making VET more accessible, engaging, and effective. You flagged quite a few examples of simulations, of virtual reality, online learning. Feels like a whole new world.
It is, and it's evolving really rapidly.
Wow.
A survey from the Netherlands suggested that a lot of VET institutions are already embracing these tools,
Okay.
but the sources also emphasize the need for ongoing professional development for teachers so that they feel comfortable and confident using these technologies in their classrooms.
That makes sense. Just having the tech wasn't enough. Teachers need to feel confident and skilled in using it.
Absolutely.
But wouldn't a focus on virtual learning, like those virtual internships you highlighted, limit that hands-on experience that's so crucial for a lot of VET programs?
It's a valid concern.
Yeah. How did the sources address that?
Well, some of them did acknowledge the potential downsides, and they really stressed that technology should complement, not replace hands-on learning.
Okay.
So, for example, VR could be used for initial training in welding.
Oh, interesting.
So students can practice in a safe environment before they move on to the real-world applications.
So it's about finding that balance.
Exactly.
Not an either.
Yeah.
What I found really fascinating was the discussion of technology's role in personalizing learning. Did you see those sections about using data analytics and AI to actually tailor instruction?
I did, and I think it has enormous potential to address the needs of this diverse range of learners that you find in VET.
Yeah.
So imagine a system that can adapt to different learning styles, paces, and needs, and provide customized instruction and support.
Wow.
It could really make a huge difference, especially for people who maybe haven't thrived in traditional classroom settings.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's exciting to think about the possibilities. But of course, technology is not a magic bullet.
Right. You highlighted some concerns about the digital divide
Yeah.
and making sure that there's equitable access.
Absolutely.
We can't let technology exacerbate existing inequalities.
Definitely not.
The sources talk about this need for investment in infrastructure and training and support to bridge that gap,
Yeah.
making sure that all learners can actually benefit from it.
Right.
It reminded me of those statistics from PISA 2018
Oh, yeah.
about those gaps in access to career guidance between advantaged and disadvantaged students.
Yes.
And speaking of career guidance, that was another major theme that was running through all these sources. It was a big one.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's not enough to simply have great VET programs.
Right.
People need to be aware of them and make informed choices about their paths.
Absolutely.
The sources really argue that this high-quality, accessible, and tailored career guidance is crucial,
Yeah.
not just for individuals, but for promoting equity and social mobility as a whole.
It is.
That OECD report painted a pretty fascinating picture of what that can actually look like in practice.
Yeah.
Did you see those examples of Scotland's SDS centers and the Netherlands Choose VET website?
I did. Those are excellent examples.
Yeah.
So Scotland's SDS centers offer this personalized advice
Uh-huh.
to both young people and adults.
Okay.
While the Choose VET website provides this comprehensive information about all the available programs,
Yeah.
including apprenticeships and internships.
So it's about using technology to make that guidance more accessible and engaging.
Exactly.
But the sources also stress that technology can't completely replace human interaction.
Career counselors still play a really vital role in providing that personalized support.
They do, don't they?
Absolutely. Technology can enhance their work,
Right.
but it can't replace that human connection
Yeah.
and the nuanced understanding that a good counselor can provide.
One report highlighted the need to address gender stereotypes in career guidance.
Oh, yes.
You had that marked up too.
Yes.
It's a persistent problem
It is.
that limits choices for everybody.
Yeah.
It really stuck out to me. The sources suggested that career guidance needs to be more gender sensitive,
Mm,
showcasing the full range of options and challenging some of those more traditional roles.
right.
Wasn't there a program in Australia
Yes.
that was mentioned about encouraging girls in skilled trades?
Skilled futures for women.
Yes.
And it's specifically designed to encourage girls to explore careers in trades and technologies.
It's about breaking down those barriers and making sure that everybody has the chance to pursue their passions and their talents,
Absolutely.
regardless of gender.
It's inspiring to see those kinds of
Yeah,
efforts.
it is.
Shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the role of technology within VET itself.
Okay.
The sources went beyond just, using computers in the classroom
Yeah.
and highlighted how technology can actually fundamentally transform the learning experience. What were some of the standout examples for you?
Well, the use of simulations and virtual reality for training really captured my attention.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, imagine learning to weld or operate complex machinery
Uh-huh.
in a safe, controlled virtual environment before ever having to do it in the real world.
Wow.
It makes learning more hands-on, experiential, and potentially safer.
Right.
Plus, it opens up opportunities for people who might not have access to traditional facilities.
That's a real game changer.
Yeah.
One report even talked about high schools in the U.S. that are offering paid virtual internships.
Oh, wow.
Students gain real-world experience without leaving their homes,
Yeah.
which removes those geographical barriers. Opens up possibilities for people in rural areas or those that have limited mobility.
Absolutely.
It's remarkable.
And it allows employers to tap into a wider pool of talent,
Right.
which benefits everyone.
Exactly. But beyond simulations, the sources also discussed using data analytics and AI
Yes.
to personalize learning, tailoring instruction to individual needs. What did you think about that? Honestly, it sounded a bit like science fiction at first.
I know.
But the more we talked about it, the more it made sense.
Yeah.
A system that can adapt to different learning styles and paces,
Right.
provide customized support. It could really revolutionize VET,
Yeah.
especially for those who maybe haven't thrived in traditional classrooms.
Yeah.
Do you think it's realistic, though? I mean, are we talking about something that's years away?
It's still early days,
Okay.
but some of the sources did showcase pilot programs and initiatives that are putting these concepts into practice.
Oh, wow. So it's not just a futuristic vision. It's happening now.
It's happening now.
But as with any new technology, there are challenges to address.
Of course.
We talked about the digital divide earlier, and that applies here too.
Yeah.
Ensuring that everyone has access to the necessary technology and the training is really crucial.
Absolutely.
And there are also those valid concerns about, the preparedness of VET teachers
Yeah.
to use these tools effectively.
Right.
You're right. Just throwing technology at the problem won't solve anything.
No.
We need to invest in teacher training and ongoing professional development, helping them become really confident and skilled guides in this new tech-rich learning landscape.
Definitely.
Exactly. And we need to kind of rethink our pedagogical approaches.
Yes.
Move beyond these traditional lecture-based models, embrace more collaborative and project-based
Right.
and inquiry-driven approaches that use technology to foster deeper learning and skill development.
Exactly.
That OECD report had a fantastic section on this.
Yeah.
They talk about how technology can facilitate more student-centered learning, where students really take ownership of their learning process and develop those critical thinking skills that are so crucial for the future.
Yeah, it's crucial.
It's about using technology to empower, not just instruct.
Absolutely. And that brings us to a key point
Okay.
that runs through all these discussions about technology, inclusivity, responsiveness.
Yeah.
The human element, VET, is ultimately about people.
It's easy to get caught up in the technical details
Yeah.
and lose sight of that. You're right. It's about equipping individuals with the skills and knowledge that they need,
Yeah.
not just to work, but to thrive in a world that's changing at this unprecedented pace.
Exactly. And you had a lot of sections marked up about VET's role in promoting social mobility. And I think that speaks directly to this human element. So the sources argue that VET can break down barriers
Right.
and create pathways to opportunity for people from all different backgrounds.
It's not just about those economic benefits.
Right.
It's about empowering individuals to develop their talents, pursue their passions, and contribute to their communities.
Exactly.
One source cited a really compelling statistic
Okay.
that VET graduates in certain countries have higher employment rates than those with general education qualifications.
Wow.
It really speaks to the value of providing individuals with skills that are directly relevant to the needs of the labor market,
Absolutely.
opening doors to good-paying and fulfilling careers.
It's powerful evidence that VET can really change lives.
Yeah, and it's not just about finding a job, it's about finding purpose and fulfillment.
It is.
You also highlighted a lot of sections about the importance of lifelong learning in VET,
Yes.
which is more crucial now than ever before.
Definitely.
The skills that we learn today might be obsolete tomorrow.
Right.
So VET needs to be this continuous journey of learning, adaptation, and growth.
Absolutely.
Several sources talked about the need for more flexible and modular programs, tailored to the needs of adult learners who are juggling work and family and other commitments. And that's where things like micro-credentials and stackable qualifications come in,
Right.
allowing individuals to acquire new skills in those bite-sized chunks
Yeah.
and build upon their existing knowledge over time.
Exactly.
You had some great examples of countries that are experimenting with these innovative approaches.
Yes.
Yeah, they were really interested. It's exciting to see how these countries are finding these really innovative ways to make VET more accessible and adaptable, to meet the changing needs of individuals, but also the labor market.
Yeah.
As we were going through all these sources, I was also struck by just the sheer diversity
Yes.
of VET programs and approaches around the world.
Absolutely.
It seems like every country is kind of finding its own unique path,
Yeah.
which makes sense given their unique contexts.
It does. It speaks to that adaptability and the responsiveness of VET as a system.
Yeah.
And it also highlights how valuable it is to share best practices
Right.
and to collaborate on solutions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much that we can learn from each other.
Absolutely.
One report even talked about how some countries are actually using VET to address these really specific societal challenges,
Oh, interesting. Like what?
like things like integrating migrants and refugees into the workforce
Wow.
or promoting sustainable development.
That's a fantastic point. It shows how VET can be this really powerful tool for positive social change.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just those individual career outcomes, and it can contribute to these broader societal goals.
Absolutely.
It really expands our understanding of what VET can achieve.
It does.
As we're wrapping up this deep dive, I keep coming back to that idea you mentioned earlier
Yeah.
about how we're kind of at crossroads with VET. The sources all seem to be calling for this fundamental shift
Right.
in how we think about and approach vocational education and training.
Yeah. I completely agree. The traditional model is no longer enough
Yeah.
in a world that's changing so rapidly.
Right. We need to move beyond just job training. Equip people with these skills they need to navigate all this complexity, adapt to change, and also find fulfillment,
Yeah.
in their work and their lives.
Absolutely.
So what does all of this mean for our listener?
Right.
They've given us a ton of information to digest,
They have.
covering everything from skill shifts and responsive systems to inclusivity and the role of technology.
Yes.
What are those key takeaways that they should be reflecting on?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that VET needs to be more than just a pathway to a job.
Okay,
It needs to be a pathway to a meaningful life.
I like that.
And that means fostering not just the technical skills, but those uniquely human qualities like creativity,
Yeah.
critical thinking, resilience, a sense of purpose.
So it's about empowering individuals to become really active and engaged citizens
Yes,
who can contribute to their communities and the world around them.
exactly.
It's about seeing individuals as these whole people with passions and aspirations and the potential to make a real difference.
Right. And recognizing that VET can play a really crucial role
Yeah.
in unlocking that potential.
Another key takeaway is the importance of that lifelong learning.
Yes.
The pace of change isn't slowing down.
Nope.
So we need to move away from that traditional model of that front-loaded education
Yeah.
and really embrace a much more agile and responsive approach.
Right.
It's about equipping people with the tools and the mindset to adapt and reskill and upskill
Absolutely.
throughout their lives.
Throughout their lives.
And that brings us back to technology,
It does.
which presents both these amazing opportunities, but also some real challenges.
Yeah.
We need to be thoughtful and strategic about how we integrate it into VET.
Yes.
Ensure equitable access, invest in that teacher training,
Uh-huh.
and develop those new pedagogical approaches that leverage technology's power
Right.
to enhance not replace that human interaction and that hands-on learning. It's about using technology to empower both teachers and learners.
Exactly.
This deep dive has been so insightful.
It has.
And I'm sure our listener is walking away with a lot to ponder.
A lot to think about.
As we conclude, what would you say is the most important message for them to take forward?
I would say reflect on the role that you want VT to play
Okay.
in your own life and in your community.
Yeah.
What are the implications of these trends and innovations for your own career path?
Right.
How can you contribute to shaping the future of VET to ensure that it really meets the needs of individuals and society as a whole?
Yeah,
These sources really offer a wealth of information and inspiration,
they do.
and the journey doesn't end here.
It's a real call to action,
It is.
to be informed and engaged and proactive in shaping the future of VET.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you've gained some valuable insights.
I hope so.
And we look forward to exploring a new topic with you soon.